Hello, I'm Dr. Ryan England coming to you from Daytona State College, and I'm going to talk to you about a little game that I invented many years ago called Pyramath. And it's a card game. It's also a computer game, but it's a card game. So this is presentations being done for some of the math faculty here that hopefully will enjoy this presentation. You should all have some of the cards if you're watching this presentation. So let's kind of go through what happens with this game. First, let's get through the basic concept of the game. The basic concept is simple. You start with two cards, and those two cards give you the ability to add a third card. So in other words, let's say you got a 2 and a 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 can play on a 2 and a 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. I can play a 2 on that. 4 times 2 is 8. I can play an 8 on that. So the cards you can play on a 2 and a 4 are a 2, a 6, and an 8. That is the basic concept. So one little caveat to that basic concept. Suppose the number is greater than 10. You simply play the units digit. So if the cards add up to 13, play a 3. It really is that simple. So let's look at some of the games that you can play with this. And hopefully you've got a deck of cards sitting in front of you and some people that are willing to play, and you can get started having fun with this. So here's some good examples of two cards side by side. Look at that and see if you can figure out the math facts, a 7 and a 2. Well, on the right-hand side, you can see that a 7 and a 2 plus 7 times 2 is 9. Booyah, got it. Okay, here's those facts right there. 7 times 2 is 14, you played the 4. 7 minus 2 is 5, you played the 5. 7 plus 2 is 9, you can play a 9. With that concept, you've got everything to make lots of really cool games, which is what we're going to do. So let's start with a simple game, solitaire. Now, normally I'll start a solitaire game with 7 cards, but I can't fit 7 cards onto this slide, so we're going to kind of go with that 5 card. I lay out 5 cards, it's solitaire, and the next thing I do is I start taking cards from the deck, and I start looking to where I can play those cards. If I can't play a card, I just discard it to the side, and I just keep going. Well, game's not a game unless you can lose, so the concept of the solitaire playing off the deck is to see if you can build your pyramid before you run out of cards. Typically with the 5 card start, you're probably going to be pretty good and you're going to get it done. Even with the 6 card start, starts getting a little bit tricky when you start up with 7 cards because you're going to have to make a lot more math facts to get there. But let's also kind of look at some of the math facts that we have here. See that top row, 9, 7, 2, 4, 1? Should be able to rattle out those math facts. 9 minus 7, 2. 7 minus 2, 5. 4 times 2, 8. 4 minus 1, 3. There's that first row done. As you work your way through each individual row, I think you're going to start being able to identify the math facts that are in play here. The one that might confuse you a little bit is that 8 and that 3. But think about it, it really isn't that hard. 8 times 3 is 24 units digit. You're good to go. And as you keep going, you want to build that pyramid, get it done in one pass. And if you get to that single card, I know that you guys were thinking, hey, how do you win? Well, it's a pyramid. You get down to the bottom of the pyramid. Of course, we're starting with the big part of the pyramid, and the pyramid is upside down. Oh, great. You can play with one person. Hey, it's more fun with 2. Let's look at 2. Well, here's one good game. If you can play solitaire in one direction, you can play solitaire in 2 directions. Say we start with 5 cards in the middle. Somebody goes first. They start drawing cards, and they start filling in the gaps there, trying to play those cards. When they run out of, when they don't have a play, guess what? They're going to hand it over to the next player, who, by the way, will build off the other side of the cards laid out in the middle. Yes, you guessed it right. If you start working through the math facts that I have right there, you're going to see that you've got them. You might be a little bit confused in the 7 and the 5, but everybody knows that 7 times 5 is 35, and you play the ones digit. 5 will fit just fine right there. Okay, let's keep going. Start filling it in, and how do you determine the winner? Well, you're going back and forth, and when you can't play, hand it over to the next player, and eventually one person should be able to complete their pyramid prior to the other person, and that would be winning the game of the 2-player, 5-card start Pyramath game. Now, it's a deck of cards. You can play it any way that you want to. You can come up with all your own games. So in this case, very orderly, you take turns, but you really want to make it wild. Here's one thing that you can do. You can play both players simultaneously, pulling off the deck at the same time, going as fast as you can. You really want to add some fun to that game. That's the way to do it. Grabbing for those cards, you either can't play it or you can play it. You grab a card, you look, you see if you can play it. You play it if you can. You move on to the next card if you can't. And that way, you're really going to start thinking of those math facts fast. Now, I'm not going to get into the psychology of this very deep, but here's the thing. You play this, you get good at the math facts. It's that simple. I've worked with many children that have struggled with math drills, the whole bit. Turn it into a game, it becomes fun, and they learn how to do it, and they get good at it. Aha, another game. One of my favorite games in cards was always War. Game of pure chance. And, it is what it is. But in this game of War, it's a little bit different. So, same as War, you split the deck, each player's got a hand. And then you throw down a card. Now you got 2 cards side by side, and if you remember the gameplay from the previous things, if you got 2 cards, that 3rd card gives you the opportunity to play. But this one's a little bit different. When you see that first throw go down, hopefully you're actually figuring out what math facts you can do. But throw down that second throw, you're going to see some facts here. Now, one good way to play War is the first person who sees a fact and calls that fact out goes, oh, 4 minus 1 is 3. Boom, they're first, they take the hand. But we can make variations. Suppose I was really fast and I said 4 minus 1 equals 3. Well, what if I had a variation that after I call a math fact, the other person also gets to call a math fact? If they see one, my fast math fact missed the largest of the math facts. 7 times 3 is 21. Ooh, that's a higher one than that number 21 is higher than the 4, So you turn it over to the other person. You can make variations of the game to make it more and more challenging. Now, here's a question about rules in the game. Can I do this? Can I do that? The answer is, of course you can. Yes, it's a game. If you play by one set of rules, the person you're playing against plays by the same set of rules. That just makes it fair, and you can make up whatever rules you want to make up. It really kind of fun that way. All right, other games. Here's one that's interesting. Try laying out a bunch of cards and give each person, let's say, 15, 20 cards. Let them start building a pyramid and see who can build the biggest pyramid with the math facts. And as you're going to find out as you're playing each of these games, you're going to think, oh, what if I do this? Well, if you want to know how a game plays and you come up with an idea, do it. Okay, one of my favorites is the fill in the blanks pyramid, where you actually try to get cards off of a pyramid and play your own cards. It's where you build a pyramid together, then take cards, and then try to put cards in your hand by taking a card off the pyramid and replacing it with one of your own. Okay, I'm not going to give you any more than that because there's a lot of different interesting ways you can come up with objectives for that specific game. And I don't want to get rid of any of the creativity that you might have while doing this. Now, you may want to watch this video again, or you may just want to sit down and play with your deck of cards. If that's the case, I'd say start with solitaire and move on. I think you're going to pick it up really, really fast and have a really good time. And sometimes I go over all the advantages of why this is an incredible game to learn math facts. But you know what? I think you can figure that out. I don't really need to tell you. So have fun, enjoy, play the game. It is what it is. It's a good time.